Hello, one and all, and welcome back to thoughtbot's AI in Focus, where we explore tooling and techniques behind using AI in development and in our products and our processes. Joining me once again is Louis Antonopoulos. Louis, thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Chad. Thanks for having me.
So if you've been watching the stream, we have been building our own product called ReadySetGo. And it is a tool that is essentially very similar in concept to the idea behind Lovable. It's a rapid application generator using AI. But our goal with ReadySetGo is to create something that is a meaningful start to an application that has a full database, full test suite, written in a test-driven development way, so that we can use it to rapidly prototype our ideas, but then once we validate them, use that as the foundation of the application going forward. That's ReadySetGo. We're a few weeks into the development now, and we're super excited about it. And Louis, I have to give you credit because the name comes from you.
Thank you. That was a fun exercise thinking through, like, what do we call this thing? Because I love the idea of building something and then it's not throwaway code. Like we get to start rapidly, but then we get to keep building on it. So
yeah. And I think it was also, in addition to the name coming from you, a lot of the previous streams that we did are the inspiration for this. We started to see in our work that using Claude Code with an experienced developer, we could do that. We could create things that were quickly put together, but the foundation of the real app that could be taken all the way to production going forward. And that's the goal, but the goal is to be able to do it for a more non-technical user by baking in our best practices and the things that we found that will work. So what we're aiming for now, the first sort of initial version, is this Hello World application. And I'm going to share my screen.
All right.
Oops. It's the wrong browser window. Okay. Is this initial Hello World application. And this is what we've done on the prior streams. We have built the core agent loop that uses Anthropic's Claude locally on our computers that are already set up for Ruby development. which is a caveat for the MVP. If you saw the stream with Richard, we decided that the first target would be not completely sandboxed, sort of running from scratch without any development infrastructure on your computer at all, but instead we're making the assumption that your computer's set up to do Rails development already. That's not how we envision it working in the future, but it's a good trade-off right now so that we can get something working to experiment with. So as we work here along the way, we're monitoring the chat. If there's anything that we are stuck on and you want to help with, or questions you have along the way, feel free to drop them in the chat and we'll see them. So we now have a generator, or you can ask it to generate an application. It generates a new application. It automatically it uses suspenders, so it's set up for our defaults, and then it installs clearance and roux. I'm going to show a little bit of that because the installation of clearance and roux actually happened off stream because we've been working on this in between the streams. So we're gonna start today by showing a little bit of where we're at today with the code, and then we're going to hopefully finish our hello world, which is actually building out a unique feature of the app with a TDD workflow.
Chad, I feel like one of the things we should try to do is to go totally meta and try to build ReadySetGo with ReadySetGo once we have the TDD working. Like as a genuine, like this is the thing we want to build. Like what if someone had this idea? Could they use ReadySetGo to build it? That would be a fun exercise.
Maybe it would be a fun exercise. Yeah, it would be. Cool. Okay, I want to add the banner up here so people know what we're doing. There we go. So let's poke around the code a little bit to show on stream some of the stuff that we've done since the last time we were working. So we have our core. If you haven't been watching before, or you have, and just as a refresher, we have the ReadySetGo sort of initial script or binary. And what that does is it makes a new ReadySetGo chat. Oh, actually, it does some setup, which is creating a projects directory and a couple other things. And then it creates the chat, and then it enters in the loop. And that loop passes our user input to the chat and streams the content back from the chat. And then once it's done, it presents the prompt again, and it just keeps on doing that over and over again.
Chad, I have a quick question coming into the code base, but maybe for some of our viewers also. Can ReadySetGo like pick up where you left off, or is it kind of like we run it, it does its work, and if we run it again, are we starting over from the beginning?
Currently, right now, yeah, but that's just part of the hello world. I actually think that context and being able to do that is pretty close to next on the list after we hit the hello world. And part of that is that part of what I've been feeling as I've been working on ReadySetGo is I'm lacking a log where I can, because right now we're not outputting, just the agent is seeing the output of the commands it's doing, and we're not showing the details of the tool calls being used. And so sometimes some stuff is happening and I really like to know what's actually happening here.
Yeah.
And so some additional, like I can envision basically capturing everything that happens into a context file or database or that. And then, so that not only would be helpful for me or the other people working on it, but it'll also mean that we can then resume by feeding in that past history of what's been done.
It's possible. I now have my assignment for the rest of Friday.
Yeah. Okay. So this ReadySetGo chat sets up, we're using Ruby LLM gem. So, and we've got a series of tools. So the tools we have available now are generating a new Rails application, running bundle install, running Rails generator, running database migrations, running the Rails server, opening your browser to a particular URL, editing a file, running the specs, and listing files. So I'm realizing as I see this, we also have a read file thing, and I must have accidentally not included that read file tool in the tools collection.
Yeah, let's add it. Is the order important at all, or is it just a list of things like?
The order is not important.
Okay.
So we now also have we have had a full test suite for ReadySetGo. But another thing that's been done since last stream is we have CI set up on GitHub running CI. So we can see if we add the read file here and run the specs again, it should fail because a tool has been added that. So nice. We wanted to TDD that change. We can now go to ReadySetGo spec, and we expect the tools to include read file. And now we're passing again. I'm going to make a branch for our work today. Okay. Let me commit that. What was that? If you, the following paths are ignored in one of your git ignore files. Oh, I'm in an ignored. I was in the projects directory, and so. Okay, so within the ReadySetGo directory structure, there's a projects directory where we create of all the applications. Okay, so what I did there was I added the read file tool. So these tools, as a little bit of an aside before we get started, these tools, read file, edit file, and list files, those are essentially the only tools you need. And it's a little bit surprising, but when you think about it, those three tools are everything that you need in order to create a coding agent that's able to do complete editing of files. Because the edit file can be used to create files.
Does this support delete also?
And it supports delete because the way it works is you give it the old text in the file to replace, and you give it the new text of what to replace with. So it's pretty cool. And read file means that it can read any file. So if you, and one thing that's happening here is everything that ReadySetGo is scoped within either the projects directory or the app directory of the app that's currently being worked on.
Okay.
We've built in protections so that you can't so the agent cannot get outside of that directory structure. So that's something that we started to do a little bit on the previous streams, and since the last stream, we now have that baked into this this method here. So and this can get more sophisticated over time, but basically it's making sure, because we're already CDing or changing the working directory to within that application outside of the agent has no control over that. We right now are ensuring that any paths we're giving to the agent or any paths being used by the agent don't include ... in them, because that would be an indicator that it's potentially trying to get outside the sandbox by CDing up.
Do we need to also look at something like the tilde for like the home directory or anything like that, or is this sufficient for now?
Yeah, it's a good point. There's probably other things that we want, but
Okay.
so that's where we're at since the last time. Let's maybe go over now, and we can run it, and we can create an application. This will be a little bit of a demo, but it's going to get us also into what we're going to do today, which is actually start instilling the TDD loop. So let's take a look at what it does when we don't tell it to do anything, because right now we're just telling it to create an application. So let's see what it does. So when you start it, it says, what do you want to create today? What do you want to create today?
I'd like to create a recipes app.
Okay. Okay. We still have to work on the output of this a little bit. Some of the lines can get jumbled together, but it says, but I'll read it. I'll help you to create a recipes app. Let me generate a new Ruby on Rails application for you. It's now running suspenders, new recipes. It's downloading the latest version of Ru and installing it in the application. It bundle adds clearance, generates the clearance installation. Oh, that's interesting. This is the first time it's ever done this. And that was asking what to do next. Well, what do you want to do? What do you want to do?
This is exciting. So we could create the model, set up the user session. I don't think we need a user session yet. Yeah, let's start with number 1. Sure.
So I just typed 1 and hit enter. Great. Let me create a recipe model with a scaffold. I'll include common fields like title, ingredients, prep time, cook time. I'll also associate recipes with users.
Does it support, does the interface support like interruptions? Like when I work with Cloud Code, I frequently like, hey, no,
it's one of our core features that is on the roadmap, but it's not there yet.
Okay, so once it says I'm adding like user reference, it is adding a user reference.
Right.
Okay.
So we can see it's using the scaffolding to do this, and it's adding the relationships. So technically there are some specs because the scaffold will generate specs, but it's definitely not doing test-driven development now. It's just doing.
Yeah. And I can see here like this total example where I'm like, wait, I want to see what it's doing. And so, yeah, adding the logs, showing those logs.
Okay, it looks like we've had an error.
Does it know?
So it depends on what level that error happened at.
Okay.
So sometimes address and use. So that error happened at a level where, like I think it was going to standard error, and I don't think it saw it, which is an improvement we should make.
Okay.
But I think that it's possible that I have another server running. Let's see what the deal is. I learned about this before. This is part of
that's cool. Is that a homebrew thing, or is that a built-in?
I don't know. It comes from our laptop script installs it,
Okay,
or the
cool.
dot file. Sorry, the dot files. Okay. Something was running on the server, so it didn't start. Try again.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right.
So here's where we're at just from scratch. So we can see that it's styled with Rue, which gives some default styles and fonts and that kind of thing. And we have our recipes app.
Okay.
We need to sign up. Create a new recipe. Here, let me zoom in.
Nice.
What recipe do you want to make, Lewis?
Whew, oh boy. Let's make TDD bread.
That's delicious. I love TDD bread.
TDD bread is the best. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So it didn't do. So let's look at the code. Actually, yeah. Let's look at the code for recipes. Specifically, since we're concerned about TDD today,
Sure.
let's look at specs.
Yeah, I was like, wait, we don't tell it to use FactoryBot, do we? Or no, that's built Suspender.
It's part of Suspender. So this is what I found is that, you know, I don't know where this is coming from. And because we're not out, this is exactly where I was like, I would like to go back and look at the output, and also like, is there a configuration setting for the Rails scaffolding if you have in suspenders with FactoryBot? Do factories get created automatically? Do you know? I don't know off the top of my head.
Offhand, I do not know.
Yeah. So, but we have our recipe spec file was created, but
not
it
an
says
actual.
add some examples.
Okay. So that's just from running the generator.
Right. And it never ran the tests. The ReadySetGo never ran the tests either.
Okay. What are the other, like, does request and routing look the same? Okay, so we got something there. Oh no, it's all skipped.
It's all skipped.
Well,
renders a successful response.
They're not great, but they're
there though.
They assert that the routes work. Mm-hmm. Okay, that one, the post. All right, and then the routing.
Yeah.
Sure, that looks pretty standard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there was no system specs yet. Okay. So the last thing, just so we can see, okay, because I don't remember what the last thing ReadySetGo asked was. Yeah. So next steps would be some of these things. Okay, so let's take a step back here then, and we're not providing any sort of instructions at all about the general process to take. We're not even saying generate a Rails application, then we have no rules in place. This is just the core loop and making a set of tools available that can be used to do the kinds of things we want to do.
Gotcha.
So I think that's where I would start, which is providing some instructions about how we want it to behave, specifically that we want to do test-driven development.
Gotcha. And then to focus in on that a little bit, are we thinking, and this is where it gets interesting to me because I could see the behavior for Ready, Set, Go being different for a non-technical creator and a technical creator. So for instance, I like to be in the loop. Like when I work with Claude for Cloud Assisted Code, like I'm in there every step of the way. I don't want it to one-shot things. I want to see it. I want to see it say, here's the test that fails. And I look at it, I'm like, yep, that looks like it was a well-written test that will, test the thing that I want to be tested.
Yeah.
And then I can tell it like, okay, great. Now write the feature. And then I can look at the feature and be like, that looks well. Or, it looks like this feature has some missing gaps, write a failing test for this edge case, for example, and so forth. Whereas a non-technical person probably doesn't want any of that.
Right.
But they want Claude to do that work for itself, right?
Yeah. So our aspiration for this is that a non-technical person can do it, and it does everything you would want it to have done.
Yeah.
So it is one-shotting it, but doing it with the workflow that you want. And our goal, and right now the thinking is, let's set that aspirational goal of it is as if you were using it, Lewis, and you're happy with everything that it's doing.
Very cool.
That's the goal.
Okay. Do you think the right approach then is to add a tool to be like this is the TDD tool, or like how to write, or like are we adding a supplemental tool? Are we looking at a Claude MD? Where are your thoughts there?
So there's a couple varying degrees of what we can do to do it, but at the core level, Ruby LLM, the chat, this here, we call chat.withTools. There's also a with instructions method. And
also,
so we could start just
just
putting basic instructions right there.
I was gonna say make the window taller, but then I realized it would be under the banner, so never mind.
Yeah, it's a little tough. I can make it. Yeah, I can't make it taller.
No worries. Carry on. All right. So,
well, I was gonna say until we're using the console, I can make this a little bit.
Cool. That helps.
So so one of the annoying things about this right now is you need to tear down the application because it's using a Postgres database every time.
Okay.
So don't let me forget to do that before we get started again.
All right.
So we can just do chat.with instructions. Now there is, I've messed this up somehow. There we go.
Nice.
There is a way, I also know that Ruby LLM can read instructions from files, and that kind of thing. So, but my thinking is for right now, we'll just start adding some basic instructions here based on what we know or think might work.
Let's see.
Go from there.
Totally agree. Let's see if it follows them and how well it follows them before we start implementing a more complicated thing. So yeah. So do we want to do you want to just start off with when you develop a feature, take a TDD approach and narrate it to me? Like since we can't see the logs or the steps. I would love to see the thinking around that. The user wants me to follow a TDD approach, but I don't think I will. Wait, they capitalized it. Okay, I doubt.
The failing spec must be written first, then run the specs to see it fail. Well,
and then, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I was going to say, we don't really know this line is needed. It's possible that just saying a TDD approach.
Sure. Okay.
Uh,
The only other thing I might want to say is, do we want it to go? We might need to give it this instruction, like single test by single test, or write 10 failing tests.
yeah.
It's fun to see also the
I know. It's like, okay, sure. Yeah. Repeat until all specs pass. Okay.
and the
So
feature.
should we pause there? Or should we stop there and see what it does?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
All right, so we're tearing things down.
Yeah. So you got to go into the projects. Why is there? Oh, I must have had something left over. Let's just remove them both. Ah, this is empty. We should like script that to make it faster.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So we start ready, set, go. Should we stick with a recipes application?
Sure. I'll start brainstorming a different one though, just to give us a little bit of variety here.
Okay. So it's running suspenders now. It's installed roux, installed clearance. It's migrating the database.
Okay, cool.
I'll create a spec for the recipe model.
Spec is failing.
Let's create the recipe model and migration.
It is taking a while.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. Like, wait, what's happening? Is there a way to pull up something else, like just see like a diff in another window of like what's been added? Or is it just
that would be nice.
This works. I mean, just to get an idea. Okay, so what do we have for spec models here?
So I was
Okay.
So this is much better than what it had before, definitely. I have a suspicion. Yeah, see, look at that. It just added more tests. So it's doing the red, green, or it's doing writing additional tests.
Yeah.
What I'm not seeing is it running. We should be seeing that the tests are being run. The spec is failing because the recipe model doesn't exist. Now let's create the recipe model and migration.
And I see under DB looks lit up there. So I'm guessing it updated schema. And it just then, for some reason.
That's the users.
So it hasn't. Okay, what's the second migration? Okay, so it's written it, but it hasn't run it, but it's still writing tests.
I don't know if it's stopped writing tests or not.
Let's jump back to the recipe spec and see if it's getting new stuff.
Spec. No, that's not getting new stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So things like edit file don't log. They're just entirely Ruby. They're not going through Terrapin, so they're not logging.
Mm-hmm.
So reading files, editing files, and listing files, it can do all those operations without. So, but if it was running the specs, we should be seeing that it's running the specs.
Agreed.
So I do. I don't want to get sidetracked, but I also feel like we need visibility into what is going on. Oh, I just remembered. This is the easy-ish fix.
Okay.
Ruby LLM has debugging.
Okay.
Tools.
Monitoring tools, debugging tools there on 12.
So if we set this,
Okay.
what it says is you'll see log line similar to every tool that's called with what arguments it's
Okay. Yeah, let's do that.
Should be able to put that in the
You want to just from the command line, like shovel onto it?
Yeah. No, that's not right. Okay.
Do you want us to start over then?
Oh, it just.
Oh. Okay. One thing we could do right here is if you go into the spec file, like stage the changes so that we'll then see like the diff of where it's gotten.
Yeah, come to think of it, we probably want it to git commit basically after every single thing it does.
That would also be good, yeah.
Now, the factory test passes, but I noticed it's not running our recipe specs. Let me check what happened.
It seems the file was reverted. That's interesting. Although if we did every commit, that would be a bunch of commits. Maybe after every like red-green cycle.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it's going now, and it's running the specs. Now let's add the user has many associations. First, let's write a spec. Good, failing test. Now let's add the association to the user model.
And so here, what I would hope with our instructions with that, it would be say like get down to the granular level. I'm going to make sure the user has associations. Here's the test. Here's the feature. Now I'm going to make sure that that it has validations. Here's the tests. Here's the feature. It looks like it might be doing some of that, but it also did like a whole bunch all at once.
Right. So this is the kind of thing where we need to make note of this. I see that it says creating a helper for logging in during the tests. But we would want to use like clearance backdoor for most of
the
time.
Right.
It may not have done that.
Yep.
What I'm going to do for now, I'm going to put things we notice as a comment here.
That sounds good.
What was something else was there anything else that we noticed?
I mean, we could tell it to, I don't think this would end up in the final, but basically like tear down the prior project on startup.
It doesn't have the commands to be able to do that.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
The other thing, I mean, we've talked about, so we could always run with the envar on to have debugging.
so it's adding CSS styling now.
Okay.
Now let's configure the mailer for development as clearance requires. Good, it's already configured.
So does it think it's done?
I lost track of what we told it to do.
I really thought we just said create the application.
Oh yeah.
I think we were just at the first one. It hasn't asked us for like any more. Say some different stylings this time.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. So looking back at the log, it really does seem like it was taking pretty small steps. But let's exit out of here. Let's tear down the application. Let's add the debugging so we can see more detail about what it's doing.
Also, commit instructions, I think, might have been one thing.
That was it, yes. But we don't have a tool to do that. But that was it, yeah. So that's cool. Before we delete the application, I wanted to look at what final specs it had. So we have a user spec just for the associations.
Okay.
So it's not using FactoryBot for this. But this actually came up with Rob and I. Rob was asking, for specs like this, do you actually just start off writing FactoryBot right away?
I mean, I would.
Are you trying to avoid using FactoryBot from the beginning?
I mean, I would want it to use FactoryBot from the beginning, all the tests. Like, that's how I want. I don't want to have to do the work later when we're like, we have a working application to now be like, oh, and now we have to FactoryBot everything.
So one of the things that I like, or that I'm noticing that I like, is we're not getting a lot of lets and everything in the specs.
That's good.
So that's good. We might have otherwise provided an instruction that was unnecessary for that. Okay, I mean, there's nothing here, like, there's some things here that I question, like what's going on here?
Yeah. Yeah, that does not feel like we should not have to have that. At least I wouldn't think so. Unless it's, yeah. We should be using the clearance backdoor there to sign in.
I think that might be what it's doing, is essentially implemented its own backdoor.
Yeah. For tests, just to be clear.
Right.
It is not backdoored the application. It is trying to figure out how to write tests efficiently.
Okay. Well, cool. So let's Control C out of here. We'll shut down the server. And we can... Oh, this was something I dropped because I was testing something. Okay. We need to go in there, Rails DB drop all, then back up blanked for a second. Okay. Okay. We've removed the recipe book application so we can start over from scratch. We have that in our environment, so we should be able to run this and see the full. Did you think of another idea yet?
I have, and this time I want to try to something that is like a little more out of its like common knowledge, like authors, books, recipes. Like these are sort of your standard things. All right, what I wanted to do, and this will be a little self-referential here. You commented that I still have my January wallpaper in the back here. I would like to create an app that manages wallpapers for that are specific to like times of the month or special holidays to me, that kind of thing. Wallpapers, we could say like for video calls, and then maybe like based on like holidays in the current month, like really something to push it a little bit out of its what are people likely to ask for.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So now we saw the debugging.
Yeah, we're gonna be overwhelmed with output here, but that is what was sent to the LLM in terms of setting up the tool calls.
Okay.
And you can see our instructions are being passed there as system instructions. And now we're seeing the output of all the commands as well.
Okay, cool. See our requests. Out of curiosity, like, where's that coming from?
What'd you say?
If scroll down a little, there was an instruction there that was interesting about the mailers in production, and I was just curious, where is that coming from? Keep going a little more.
I think let me pull this up.
Yeah, there. Oh, I see. It's just echoing the.
This is coming from the clearance instructions. When you gem install clearance, this output comes from that.
Okay, cool.
I wonder whether it did it.
Whether it ran the installer or whether it
did these instructions. I think so, because they all ended up like we should see it if it.
Sure.
Now let me bundle install. Run tool bundle install.
Okay. Clearly, we need a middle level.
Yeah, so we're going to get the entire chat content, I think, building up. See?
Yep.
Because it's output. The debug is outputting the entire context of the chat every time.
I'm just gonna keep spouting off ideas for future things. Not just like I would be curious about the token count of like how much we're hitting there, and then like and as a later like how do we optimize around that? And I'm seeing like I want to see is the runner like the full debug log or just like slightly more verbose log or
right.
Yeah, so many cool things so many cool directions to go in.
So well, the other thing is that we ultimately envision this being a web-based application that someone would use. And so you can see, I can envision that it could do all of those things, log them to the database, and allow you to choose what you're seeing and not seeing on the fly, basically.
Totally.
Okay, so here we got the first feature development that it's doing. So it says, now let me create the core models and functionality. I'll start with creating occasions, wallpapers, controllers, and views. Let me start with TDD by creating specs first. And then it says, now let me create the core. Okay, yeah. So we can see then it calls edit file.
Yeah.
With and it's creating the spec.
And I'm seeing it did not follow our instructions around doing a cycle, right? Because I'm seeing multiple it shoulds in here, which means it wrote like 4 failing tests.
Right.
And then let's see if its next instruction or its next activity was, now I'll fix them all. Again, like multiple it shoulds happening.
Mm-hmm. So here's the edit file that it's doing, and we can see the file that it wrote a little bit more clearly from this view.
Yeah.
So it definitely did add multiple failing things at once.
I don't think it listened to your uppercase. I think it defied you directly. Just
you deliberately disappoint me. Then it ran those specs.
Yeah.
So in your experience, is there a better way to write that instruction so that it really does only write one spec at a time?
Yeah, let's take a look at the instruction.
It's right here, actually, on the screen.
Okay.
A single failing spec must be written first. So maybe it's thinking spec file.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, let's try a single failing test or a single failing. I mean, it depends how deep you want to get into the TDD. Yeah, I was like, fullest TDD would be a single assertion, but perhaps in the interest of balancing, yeah, I think it's misunderstood spec. Let's do your thing.
Okay, a single failing. What is that it called? That it block?
You have to forgive me here because I am way more comfortable with mini test. So I'm trying to think like in our spec language, is there a thing? But it's not the describe like a single. I mean, what if we told it a single failing it block?
It's gonna put all the specs in one it block. A single failing. No, yeah, let's do it.
Ace or yeah.
Block.
Then run. Maybe then run. I was gonna say
with. What were you gonna say?
Then instead of saying then run the specs, then run just that test to see it fail. No pun intended on the it. Then write the code to make that one block pass. And then maybe repeat until you've covered like all the aspects you want under test, or like until you've covered like all the tests required for this feature. Can we try something for this also?
Yeah.
Can we add an instruction? Stop and ask me after each red-green cycle. Stop and ask me to continue. Stop and ask for permission to continue. Something like that. I just want to see if it'll do it. And then that might also allow us to look at, is it following the flow we've given it? Cool.
In the meantime, I think it's still been working.
Okay.
So I scrolled all the way down in the log, and the similar thing looks like it happened. It went to use the generator, and it looks like it's paused there. I'm noticing we got a question in the chat a while ago, and I apologize for not asking, but I think it's not pointing it out, but it's an interesting question, which is we're not using tests to drive our implementation of this. And I think that that's super difficult because we're using an external LLM that's, we don't know how it behaves. And so we did use tests to drive the implementation of the tools and all the building blocks of this. But then when it comes to actually testing that the LLM is doing what we want, I think we would need to start using a local LLM, which isn't out of the question for the future, but it does present a particular challenge to this part of the app. Thanks for the question. It's a good thing to ponder. Last time when I hit enter, it started to do some stuff. I'm going to try that again.
Okay,
There's
sure.
no reason why that should matter because enter, we don't have a prompt here. Enter doesn't do anything. So unless there's like something being bogged down. Yeah. So maybe it's the Z terminal or something that's happening.
Also, do you want to turn, oh wow.
That's the directory listing.
Exciting. Do you want to like off camera change the environment variable? And then we could also like, we could set it before running the script if we want it on or off.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really excited to see if it will follow this, because then like this is also going to be like maybe where we would have it do commit. So if we can have it respond to that instruction and follow it and keep remembering that it should.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks to me like maybe the Z terminal is getting bogged down or something.
Okay.
When I hit enter, it then like clears the buffer and outputs like a bunch of extra stuff. I'm gonna scroll all the way down now.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So are we at tear down and restart?
I'll help you create a video. Yeah, I think so. I just wanted to try to see what the last thing it did was.
I see there is.
In theory, have all of the, yeah, okay, so the last thing it did was create a user factory.
Okay.
Either that or I scrolled up way too far. Yeah, I think the Z.
I see. Do you think are you saying it's being overwhelmed by the debug output? Because also, I guess before when it paused on the migration, we didn't have the
Yeah, no, I just think it's something about it getting like bogged down in some way and it's not updating, because now it's working okay. It's doing it.
Sure. Right, so I see.
It's creating an occasion spec, and you can see it's doing.
That looks like multiple describes.
Yeah, but we haven't told it not to do that yet. So.
Right. This is the prior. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, we got an error.
Was it just the interrupt?
No such file or directory. Tool read file called with spec support clearance. Such file or directory.
I wonder, was that? I see.
Yeah, I mean that file doesn't exist. So we should log. It's a little hard because we're on like stream. I don't want to lose this thing. We can catch that error and then you provide it as an error to the LLM.
Okay.
Sorry, this is the exception. And then if we provide it as an error to the LLM, it will be better. It will be able to handle the error. Okay.
So again, not to sidetrack us too much, do you find it's better to let it handle the exceptions or to like give the tool definition more like, hey, before you try to work on a file, make sure it's there?
The way that when Ruby code in a tool that we're calling is going to throw an exception, we need to catch it and then handle it.
Okay.
But we can handle it by outputting the message for the exception.
Okay.
Is there anything before we delete the app that you want to look at in terms of the code?
I'm not certain, but what if we just move it like up out of the, like move it 3 directory levels up so that we still have it to come back to? Just feel like we've captured. Well, we've captured.
Well, we could, if you wanted to do that, all we need to do is delete the database, and then we can move wallpaper manager to wallpaper manager 1.
All right.
That should do it. Okay, so we have our new instructions now.
All right. Trying to come up with a new idea. I'll see if we.
I was going to use the same one.
No, this is good. This is good. We'll continue. I'll come up with a new one for the next one.
Oh, we didn't start it with the. Did we want to start it with the debug or?
I think let's try it without this time.
Okay.
Okay. Here's also, where you, I think in one of the recent commits, you added the hint to it to use clearance and roux.
Mm-hmm.
If it still struggles with FactoryBot, maybe we add that as part of its hints.
Yeah.
Now I guess we'll see. Okay. Oh, another thing that might be nice. I'm not sure, again, if this would end up in the final or for now, to ask it to like, tell me your instructions. Like as a way of having it remember them. I know that when I'm doing Claude Assisted Development, I start every session with a literal read Claude MD. And that seems to help it. Like, oh yeah, I need to follow this thing. Versus it being like background information. So it might be interesting, just something to explore. Do you want to try hitting enter here? Let's see if we're...
That didn't do anything.
Okay.
Oh. So in theory, it doesn't need to run rspec install because it's already been done in suspenders. So it's definitely not pausing like we asked it to. So that didn't work.
Interesting. Can we pull up those instructions again?
Yeah.
And actually, I think whether or not we add it to these instructions, yeah, actually, can we kill it and then in the next run through, ask it what its instructions are to that first prompt and see, will it answer? Or is it going to interpret that, like, in terms of the ReadySetGo structure, is it going to interpret that as this is what I want you to build?
No, you can give it instructions.
All right, let's try that.
Okay, I'm going to kill it.
Sure.
Oh.
Okay, I'm ready with my next app idea. This is the $1 billion one, Chad. It's gonna go viral.
We don't want it with debugging, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
Okay.
Okay. So here, let's first ask it, like, what tell me your instructions for how you're going to proceed or something like that. Chad, also out of curiosity, in the sort of background as we're interacting with Claude here, are we providing it like a history of our own context, or are we like relying on like its internal tools to know everything we've talked about?
The Ruby LLM manages the chat.
Okay. Okay. So
that library keeps like in a data structure the entire chat that it had.
Okay, cool. I see here it has it under key principles.
Right.
So, actually, let's press on this. I want to ask, last time we ran, you had the same instructions, but you didn't stop after each test cycle. Maybe even ask it, what do we need to do to help you remember? Here I'm expecting my fault. I should have listened. But
right,
still,
that's what I'm expecting as well.
Maybe we'll get something. And I think this part is important, right? Because like, I think having it stop after each step or following at least the instructions. Well, let's see what it said. That's number 3 there. I should treat each step as its own task. The key to look from you, continue or yes. Like it clearly understands what we're asking for. If you're okay with it, I'm all up for trying to see like, okay, then like let's build the next thing.
Yeah.
And now what I would like to build is something to help me declutter, organize, and maybe inventory the items on my desk.
So do you think that because we had that conversation in the beginning, it's now like has the context that it's more important and it's going to do it better this time?
Completely anecdotally, yes.
Right.
And I mean, and I have found that
it stopped. Should I continue with running bundle install and the database migrations?
Okay, cool. Let's give it a yep. I have found that many times like things are not followed, and then I have a conversation, and then at least for a short window, that is followed.
should I continue with writing the first test?
And now after it's a stop, let's look and see what that test file looks like.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Okay. Desk organizer application. Spec, models, item spec.
Hey.
Okay.
All right. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, well, that's more in line with what we're looking for. So uninitialized constant item, the item model doesn't exist yet.
Nice.
Should I continue with creating the item model to make this test pass?
Yeah, and then let's look at the model it creates and see how detailed it got.
See, it's using scaffold to do it.
Okay. I see. And so it's scaffolded out schema-wise a number of items.
In fact, let's look at the schema.
I was going to say, for our next run through, assuming we have time, I think what would help us is to like commit everything it does after the first, like when it gives us our first pause, so that then we can see like a little more closely, like what's in the current diff. So yeah, so this is interesting. And I think to your point, like it is not TDDing this. I guess you might come into some debates about how much TDD. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. Do we need to TDD each property on it, versus maybe like we should TDD the validations, like one at a time. Like I think
my theory is that if we don't get this base like cycle working, even for just basic writing validation specs one at a time, we can't possibly hope that it's going to do it when it gets to bigger features. That's my theory, but I could be wrong. It's now stopped asking just now. Oh,
okay. Can we do a quick commit here? Just like, I don't know, stage all, commit all, and then see what the next diff looks like.
Yeah. Figure out how to do that. Okay.
Sweet.
Should I continue with the next test? Yes. I was really, I said it didn't ask us, but it was, it did ask. It was running the tests. So it did not ask whether it wanted, it didn't ask whether, so the factory test was failing because the item factory needs a user. Let me fix the factory. Now let me run the specs again. It just did that by itself.
I think that seems okay, right? Because I think it was trying to get to passing, and it was realizing, well, I need to do a couple of things to get it passing. All right, so what is our okay, cool. One of the things I've come across and is like entered my lexicon recently is malicious compliance, and this has a little bit of a feel like that. Oh, you want me to ask after every step? Okay, sure. I'll ask after every step. We might need to tweak those instructions, like do a red green cycle. But at least it is. At least it is. We're proving out that it can have this level of stop start.
Yeah, and I mentioned before that I could envision actually like having two models talking to each other,
Yeah.
where one has the like you are the enforcer of test driven development.
Yes. Yeah. Uh, Having that kind of interaction between the two agents, I think is very helpful, because one is really focused on its rules and not trying to remember
So
all the
this is the
things.
first time, sorry to interrupt, it's
Oh, it's
creating
checking
a
out.
feature test for listing items.
Okay. Yeah. What does that one look like? Also, I see it wrote a system test. I am surprised,
It doesn't,
or at
why
least
is it
system is.
not showing in the get def? Let's see if it's actually there. Yeah.
And again, here we see like it's not using any helpers for signing in.
I don't know. What am I doing wrong here? Diff.
What is it? Get status or also?
Oh, it's untracked. That's why it's not showing up with get diff.
Got it.
Okay. Well, I mean, this is the first time that it actually wrote a system spec first, as far as I remember.
Yeah. And personally, I would want, as part of us working on this, to be like, don't create a system spec unless you need to. Like, this could be, it seems like a request spec or something. This is not worthy of a system test in my estimation. But I think, I don't know, more importantly, we've gotten it to a point where at least it will follow the cycle. Can we try one more time without our initial interaction to see if we don't tell it, hey, what are your instructions? If it will follow them.
Yep. So if we do this without the debugging, we're not going to know when it's, so I suspect it was doing like, we weren't seeing it run the specs. Oh, actually, we should see every time it runs the specs.
Yeah.
Okay. And do a desk organizer again, or do you have another idea?
Let's do a different one, and just looking around here for inspiration. I want a board game recommendation engine.
Wow. Engine. It should prompt me for my likes and dislikes, and then recommend games that I may also enjoy.
This is it. This is the viral.
Board game Suspenders new board game recommender.
All right. It's the moment of truth.
Nope. I'll write a single failing test. Oh, you know, it did it. Then it did it didn't run the spec though.
Here it is. Let's run the test to see it fail.
But it already generated the model.
I see. It didn't write the model test, but now it's doing the failed validation test. Yeah. So I mean, I feel like here we have some clear signals. It's not asking us. It's not asking us like it did before.
Right.
And so I don't know what to do about that. To be frank, can we look at those instructions again? So, chat with instructions. So it's interesting. On one hand,
Yeah.
it seems like it's following more closely. Like it is. It seems like it is writing. It seems like it is writing a test, then testing it to fail, testing to see it fails, then fixing the feature on some level. It is ignoring the stop and ask me to continue. One thing we could do is put it at the top.
Right.
To see if that has an impact. Again, like I think we're running close to the end of the stream time here. Some ideas for where we could go next would be if we add the git commit tool, then we could run it and watch the commits like happen, and then we could like, instead of having to look at the stream and what it's doing, we could look at each commit that it's made and at least see, is it committing after each change and running the cycle. Like then we could see like, cool, here's a commit for the failing test, here's a commit for the passing feature, and that might help our like development process go a little faster. But I am so surprised at how it ignored it. I shouldn't say surprised. The ignoring the instruction until we ask it about the instruction.
Right.
Does make me think maybe we need a tell me your instructions at the top of, like at the beginning of the ReadySetGo cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first thing you do, LLM, is tell me your instructions.
Right.
Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go next? You want to try just that one?
I'm just gonna note it. I think to comment on what you just said, I think the other thing it's not necessarily doing is actually running. I'm concerned it didn't see. Look, it says creating. Let's start with the first test. Create a board game model. I'll write a single failing test. It did it.
Yeah.
It did not run the test there.
I mean, it says it did a little.
No, then it does it generates the model.
I see.
Then it writes the test. Then it writes a failing test for the board game model. It migrates the database, and then it ran the test to see it fail. So it did, just in the very first thing, it did too much without running the specs.
Yeah. This is going to be interesting. I think this is going to be a bit of prompting. Maybe the adversarial approach with a second, like the TDD enforcer. Maybe the having it like iterate its rules. I feel like we need something in there to like ultimately have it like hard stop it so that it's like, oh right, I forgot. I don't have an inspiration for how to implement that yet, but I feel like we need something if we really wanted to follow this.
Yeah, I agree. I also wonder whether something like, because it's very typical to say like you are a
yes, like a TDD
staunch advocate of TDD principles.
Yeah. One thing I've found can be helpful is to give it like more. So like to point it at an article, for example, or something that says this is the red green refactor cycle. You follow these instructions and have it go out, read that instruction, and come back, versus us just telling it TDD, because admittedly TDD is vague. There's a lot of flavors of TDD, and how deep people go into it. So like to be a devil's advocate, like maybe it's trying, maybe it thinks it is doing it, and it's like thinks it's following its instructions. We just haven't told it no, really. I don't know.
Right.
I know that we've tried. Like we're telling it a single it block. Like,
Let's try just with that one change. I'm curious. A board game recommendation application where the user is asked their likes and dislikes, and gets recommendations of games they might like. I'll have you build a board game recommendation using TDD principles.
okay.
Let me start by creating the Rails application. Now let me start by creating our first test for the board game model. Following TDD, I'll write one failing test first. Now let's run this single test to see it fail. It did not do that last time.
Okay.
Interesting. It seems the test didn't run. Let me check if the spec file was created properly. Good, the models directory was created. Let me read the file again. The file exists. Let me try editing it differently. Perfect. We have our first failing test, uninitialized constant board game. This is exactly what we want in TDD, a test that fails for the right reason.
This is so interesting, right? Just that tiny tweak of the
now
prompt.
Let's write the minimal code to make this test pass by creating the board game model. I think there might be something weird going on with the generators. It seems like they take a really long time. Yeah, I accidentally overwrote this. My editor accidentally overwrote the spec.
Oh no. Okay.
But it fixed it.
Okay.
Oh, okay. It stopped. Let me know when you're ready to continue. So wrote a failings test for board game model with a name. Created the board game model with attributes. Tests now pass.
Can we run it again? Can we kill it and start over and just see one more time?
Yeah, that sounds good. And then we'll call it there for today.
Right. And I have a new app here.
Rails DB drop all. Okay.
I want to create something that helps me determine, based on the party items I collected from my last party, how many I need to save for my next party.
Party items? What do you mean? Like
how many plastic
plate?
forks do I need? If I have 50, if I have 100, like how many do I need to hold on to like to host my next party? Sure.
Okay. Let me start by creating a new Rails application with authentication and styling. It did not say anything about TDD principles this time.
Okay.
That doesn't bode very well.
No. No.
I don't know what's happening now. Wow.
Oh, it just gave up. It's not even testing now. We're right.
You know.
Oh, wait. Okay, hang on.
Yeah. You know, I think it was those instructions there are the instructions that gets outputted from clearance generate install clearance.
Oh, right. Okay, so we might be something to think about in the future. Okay. We still have the instructions to stop and check with me, right?
Oh yeah.
But it is not.
Oh no. It really doesn't like that instruction. Which in the grand scheme of things for Ready Set Go, we don't want it to stop. So like
like to me that's where I'm struggling with this, because one, I guess I wanted to prove that it will follow our instructions.
Right.
So
exactly.
So that we don't have to be like, well, when you're doing this without me prompting, really don't create more than one spec at a time, like more than one it block at a time, and make it pass using the minimal you need to get that one block to pass. All right, I think we have some homework before the next
Now it is doing it. So it's funny because I'm looking at the output here and it is doing it. It's just completely ignoring the request to stop.
Yeah.
If you look at what it's doing, it is doing that good flow. Like it ran it, uninitialized constant, it created it.
The question is, like, if we look at that party items controller, can we look at it? Can we look at like if the model that it created? Because, for instance, I would expect to just be like an empty controller. Right? But it has stuff in it.
Right.
And what I would have wanted it to be like class party items controller end.
Yeah.
So we're having some success, but we're also highlighting some of the challenges.
Yep.
Of getting it to work the way we want it to work. Now it's emojiing the TDD written first as if to placate us, I think.
Yeah.
I wonder, can we go
really
to like
write a system spec? I mean, I don't think it's lying, but
yeah. It did something.
It did, yeah.
Can we look at the top level instructions for what we're asking it to do? Is it no, but like even before this, like when we're like
none.
Write a Rails app for us, right? Like is that
none?
There are none?
Yeah.
Oh, really? So this is the highest. This is like the first thing it hears from us.
The first thing it hears is the tools that are available
Okay. We
along
could
with
swap
these
that order.
instructions.
We could swap that order. Maybe it's getting some ideas about what tools it has before it knows how to use them. I'd be interested in exploring that.
I don't think we can change the order.
Like to say with instructions before with tools?
Oh, I think that's those don't get sent until you call .ask.
Okay. All right. It still would be worth looking at what that prompt looks like to see if the tools are prioritized above the instructions.
And we have another suggestion for asking it to propose 2 directions, present behavior breakdown of the direction, then implement a single spec at a time, and red-green refactor. Interesting.
The trick here with that one is like ultimately we don't want it to do this, right? We don't,
Right.
like you were saying, Chad, we don't want it to ask us, but we do want it to internally one feature at a time.
Right.
And this is just like a prop for, are you listening to us? And trying to get it to
Right.
do that. I feel
Yeah,
like
it's super interesting. I think in addition to this core sort of problem we need to solve, we've got a set of other things like it's not using factory bot. We want to do git operations. We want it to indicate that to use the clearance backdoor.
yeah, maybe we like put a pin in this one and not necessarily. I mean, we
I
could
think
open
this is important though. I think we can work on some infrastructure stuff, but I think we need to really make sure that we're getting this core TDD flow right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just meant like, I don't know. I guess we have enough to push, like to have a PR that does something. Like it is doing some TDD now, whereas it was doing none before. So we have some forward momentum.
It does seem like this line of "you're a staunch advocate of TDD principles" did have an impact.
I would, yeah, I want to play around with this. This is
Yeah,
more on my own.
definitely. So I'll push up my branch,
Okay, cool.
and you can play around with it.
Cool. I hope for our viewers this has been interesting. I think it just highlights some of the struggles with, like when you're working with an LLM, like these are the things you have to consider, and you have to look to see that is it doing what you're saying, and if not, reevaluate.
Yeah, if we can crack this, it's gonna be great. Thanks everybody for watching. We will be back next Friday with the continuation of this. I expect that we will either crack this since then or by then, or we'll come back on the stream and we'll share where we're at and work on it more. So thanks so much for watching. Lewis, thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Chad.
Have a great rest of your day. Everybody out there, bye-bye.